Welcome back to Winds of Whimsy. Want to turn an old book into a magical vintage naughty nice list? Today I'll show you how using IOD molds and air dry clay. I used a discarded dictionary and begin by using Paint Couture Premium Plus 2-in-1 primer in gray. It was hard to cover up the embossing on the cover, so you'll see in a moment I decided to use a piece of fabric that I had torn on two sides. I'm going to adhere that to my book cover with heavy body gel. So I'm brushing a coat of that on, and I start with the spine by smoothing that down and making sure it's in the crease very well. And we'll just adhere that to the outside of the cover, and then I fold over the ends and adhere that to the inside. The next step is going to be to glue these pages together. I begin using Titebond Quick and Thick, and I did add some water to that to thin it down. And you just put that on lots and lots of pages and get that stuck together, and then also apply it to the edges when you're done. I'm taking the end of a paintbrush and adding some curls to the end of these pages. Now I did find with this particular book the pages are very thin, so they wrinkled a bit. We're going to use the IOD St. Nick mold. We begin with a light layer of cornstarch so that the clay will release easily. There are two nice little holly leaves and some berries on this mold, so we're going to start with those, and then I take a bigger piece of clay that will hopefully fit within this whole design, and that will help to eliminate cracks in the final product. So you press that down firmly, work it down into the mold, and this is a deep mold, so it takes a while to dry. Peel the mold back and it releases this beautiful Santa face. So here you'll see me sealing the outside cover with Debbie's DIY liquid patina. I don't have the video footage for some reason where I painted the cover, so this is the fabric that I had glued on earlier, but I did also add a layer of DIY marquee paint, and that has dried, and now I'm sealing that with the liquid patina. After the liquid patina has dried, I'm playing around here with the Christmas Joy transfer. I thought I would put a little design on the back of this book in case you wanted to set it on an easel. Oops. I didn't let the liquid patina dry long enough, and while I was working with it, it pulled off my transfer. So I was impatient. After I cried a little, I moved on to adding some more molds using the IOD Winter Forage mold. I made a number of those greenery pieces that we will use later. Now I am going to paint the inside pages of this book that are going to show with, I'm using some white gesso here. As you can see, I mentioned earlier that these particular pages tended to wrinkle when I glued them together because they're so fine, but I'm going for an old look anyway, so I decided just to work with that. Then we will need to let that dry, and we have some decoupaging to play with. Now I'm going to decoupage this Naughty Nice list onto the center of this book. I used this craft colored tissue paper and the IOD Apothecary Labels stamp set to create this list. I used the labels and then the letters that are available to create the wording, and then it also has a nice line that I was able to use to create the lines for the list, and I used a Sharpie marker to add my family names. So this isn't just decor, it's personalized. You can add family names or friends' names and have some fun with that. So after that has dried, I am now gluing down my greenery that's going to embellish the center of this book. I'm using, looks like I'm using the heavy bond gel again. Sometimes I use Titebond Quick and Thick, but I have found I kind of like this heavy body gel because I can use the paintbrush and it maybe doesn't make such a mess on my hands. So I just keep arranging these. There's a couple different kinds of greenery, the holly leaves and some pine greens. Arrange these in a way that I like and attach them. Now comes my favorite part. We can start to add color and life to these molds. They have dried. They have been allowed to dry at least overnight so that they get firm on top. Otherwise, you have to be very gentle so you don't mess up the details if the clay is too soft. So I'm starting with Pink Couture Light Brown Sugar Glaze to add some antiquing. I want to get that down in the cracks, and then I'll apply my paint lightly over top, and with the goal of having some of that show through as an aged, so it looks like it's aged. We are going for an old world kind of heirloom vibe that looks like it came straight from Santa's workshop. You can use a wet wipe and pull some of that back, and you'll see me do that again as I'm adding the paint. glaze has dried, and now we're adding some green. I have been using Paint Couture Luxe Metallics for a lot of projects. I do love these paints. They have a lovely sheen to them that's just very soft, and they're very nice to work with. So this is the Luxe Metallic Amazon, and I'm also using Cardinal Red and Oyster Pearl. And I use the Oyster Pearl to mix into this Amazon and create a couple different shades. So there's a definition between the holly leaves and the pine greens. I just wanted to get some different colors going, but I used these two paints and mixed a custom shade. I'm adding that Luxe Metallic Cardinal Red to the berries. And I'm not sure what I used on that Santa hat. It is either the DIY Debbie's marquee that I used on the cover, or it's this Cardinal Red also. I'm not sure since I don't have the video of it. Either would be lovely. For the Santa, I'm using the Paint Couture Luxe Metallic Oyster Pearl, which is a beautiful white. And I'm using that on the Santa beard and on the fluff that's on his hat. And it's hard to pick up on the video, but it really gave a nice look to the Santa beard. Here I'm using a little blush. It's also a Paint Couture Luxe Metallic. Little blush on his cheeks, give him those rosy cheeks. I use the Luxe Metallic Black. There's a black Luxe Metallic that has a little bit of sheen, and I'm going to use that to help create the eyes. Now that has allowed to dry again, and I'm just going back in with some more of that light brown sugar and adding some antiquing around the leaves and images on the paper. Just trying to create more aging, antiquing, and depth. You may notice as I'm working here that there's a little poem at the bottom of the nice list, and that is also a transfer from IOD, and I believe that came from the Christmas Joy transfer as well. It did come from one of those Christmas transfers from this season. So that added a nice little touch to Santa's book, and just keep working with it till you like the finished product. Add layers using different shades, and till you're very happy and with the look you like. I really struggled on this piece with what to do with the outside of the pages. I tried a couple different things. I think I started with red and I covered that up, and I did land on using this green, the Amazon Paint Couture Luxe Metallic paint, and I did want to soften that, so I believe I applied DIY Golden Ticket over top of that, just to soften that green a little bit. You could use a bit of gold wax also as another option. I love using this crinkly rayon ribbon. I bought a large roll of plain white on Amazon, and I just custom dye it. I have some mason jars. I put some hot water and some salt based on the dye instructions into a mason jar and some of that ribbon, and I let it sit for a little bit, and then rinse it out when I'm happy with the color and crinkle it up and let it dry. And it's very easy to do, and it's just wonderful to work with. So I'm just working that into the center of this book and working it down into those leaves to add another touch of interest. Glue that down once I'm happy with it with a little hot glue. And here he is, Jolly Saint Nick. I love how this turned out. I showed it to my grandson, and he was sure that it was Santa's real book, and he wondered if that was his name on the nice list in Santa's book. So I did have to tell him that, well, Gigi made this book, but I was sure his name was on the nice list for Santa this year. I hope you have fun with this and make a personalized book for your family.